This question comes to us from Reddit, and it is, if you could have 5,000 of anything that starts with a Y, what would you choose? Mike, I think you had an idea.
Ever.
All right, what do you got for me, Mike?
Do you want me to go first?
Go for it.
I'll take 5,000 yachts.
It's a good one. I think that was...
sell most of them.
Yeah.
But...
You'll sell 4,999 yachts.
Pretty much, yeah. Maybe I'll keep 2. But...
2 yachts?
Away. Yeah, one for the Atlantic, one for the Pacific. You know, no need to move them. I would have so much money from selling the other 4,000 yachts. I can afford to keep them, you know, in storage.
So many yachts, though. You would have to. That's the thing. You would own the yacht, but you wouldn't own. You would have to pay for the place to put them.
So the initial, you know, you'd have to go in debt for like a little bit, but then once you sold the first one, it's all gravy.
So one yacht, you're good.
That was actually the number one comment was a yacht. And my favorite one I saw, I will say I'm not smart enough to come with this myself, but it spoke to my money man Rob. It is 5,000 years of compound interest on my current savings at a reasonable rate of 4%. That should keep me covered for an eternity or two. And the put that in perspective, if you had $1 in your savings account, that'd give you 10 to the 84th power amount of dollar bills, and there's only theorized to be 10 to the 80th power of atoms in the known universe. So you'd be set. Whoa. But my actual answer, I thought it was Yamaha. Like, can I just get 5,000 Yamaha products? And, you know, you can get like a guitar, some pianos, or you can even get a bike because they do like a bike thing. So I feel like that'd be a good thing where I can get a lot of variations and stuff, but then sell what I don't need, you know, or don't want.
Not bad.
Yeah. I feel like I was in a seminar a little bit. I feel like I was in not Dave Ramsey. Yeah, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey, yep.
Yeah.
And then we use a debt snowball. What about you, Lou? What would you get 5,000 of?
I'm gonna go with Yules.
Like,
what's a Yule?
Like Y-U-L-E?
Yeah, isn't that
like a Yule log?
Yeah. Oh no, I thought that was the Christmas thing. Dang it! I thought that was the circle Christmas thing. Isn't that? That's not it, is it?
I thought it was like
wreath.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a wreath. Shoot.
So it's the I think it's a log, a Christmas log, or like that, a holiday log.
Could I make money off of that? I feel like people pay anything for Christmas, and you could bring it out during like October, and people would still buy it.
Let's see how much a Yule log costs. So
honestly, 5,000 logs, you could still sell it just as firewood and make a decent amount of money.
Oh,
it's no 5,000 yachts, but you'll still make a profit.
Yule log is also a cake.
Oh, so you get to looks like you can get it as a cake.
Can I just do years?
5,000 years?
Yeah, can I do that? And can I give them out?
I don't know if that's how years work. I'll let you take. If you want to live for 5,000 years, I'll accept that as an answer.
Oh, I don't want to live for
I was gonna say I wouldn't want to.
No, thank you.
Dude, I don't want to live for 50 years. I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work.
Okay, final answer. I'm just gonna go with yen, the Japanese currency.
It's not a lot, right? I think
not a lot of money, but
yeah,
you'd probably make more money if you sold the logs, honestly.
Then I would have to sell it, but then oh gosh, if I had yen, I would have to transfer it or.
Let's see. What would 5,000 get you? That is the equivalent of just under $31. The most reasonable out of all of us.
I could buy something, you know. It's more than a pizza, less than a car.
Yeah, it's the Steam sale's going on right now. You know, you can get a good game for $30.
Andrew sent me a picture of Portal 2 for like $1 today. It's like
30 portals.
I definitely have stuff in my cart right now that I need to buy. Shout out to Fallout 4.
The other thing I thought of was yard, front yard, backyard, either one. Like just 5,000 properties essentially.
5,000 properties, not bad.
Is there any sports team that start with a Y? Like, could you just get like 5,000 of that sports?
Yankees.
Oh my goodness! So there it is. They're one of the most. They're one of the teams worth the most.
Fair.
5,000 of them though.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Rob. I'm joined with me and my host, Mike.
Hey.
And Lou.
5,000 yoga. That'd be something.
What?
Ha! My name is Lou.
You could do 5,000 yoga mats. Those things are expensive. I feel like the markup. It's like $100.
I know the white women would be clawing, boy.
So that's $500,000 right there.
Back, white women. Back.
Well, this week we're going to talk about our top 5 high school memories. The way I quantified this is just as soon as your freshman day of high school starts, you can start then and all the way till you graduate high school. So anything that happens could be during the summer, could be outside of school. That's fair game. Just that 4 years of life. What are some of your favorite memories? And I know we talked about middle school, and not quite memories, but it was things that we were all about in middle school. So inevitably it was memories. So just thought it'd be time to, I was feeling nostalgic and wanted to do high school. My number 5, and if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me probably briefly talk about this, but I went to a Christian school, and we did this thing at the beginning of every year in high school called Spiritual Life Retreat. We go for like, I think it was one night for 9th through 11th grade, and the seniors went an extra night. But my freshman year, one thing I just look back with fond memories, and so they set us in this gym, and it was, I think, 9th through 11th grade. And you put a bunch of, 14, 15-year-olds in a gym where that has very climbable stuff. Of course, these guys are going to go climbing. I think Dylan, Mike's friend, he went to my school. They had those, the styrofoam, like, ceiling tiles. So people were popping up in there and going climbing and walking on the walls. I think I looked up one time, and he was up there with some guys, and I know some people throughout the night would go and like throw things at other people when they were trying to sleep. Not coincidentally, that was the last year the guys were in the gym. The next year they put the girls in there. But the one thing I love about my freshman year is at the very end we got in this like huge. It wasn't dodgeball. It was just like a brawl with balls. A shootout with balls.
Yeah. A broad with balls.
We don't judge here on the top podcast. We don't kink shame. I think it was mostly the 9th grade guys, which was my grade. Up on they had a second floor, so up there they had the railings. We were just like throwing dodgeballs, and the 10th graders were down below, just like going back. It was like it felt like it was a shootout, like from an old movie where like all the mobsters are on top shooting at the police, and it just kept on escalating. Like they kept on. It started out with those foam balls that you just use a dodgeball or whatever, you do that. But then they were starting to throw like basketballs and everything. And so one thing we started doing is we first went into the bunks, grabbed the mattresses and used them as like a shield. But then we just started lobbing them over the edge, trying to land these on top of people. And I remember the like nerdy goody two shoe guy like came out, was like, "Stop it, guys, stop it!" And we just like, he was trying to grab the mattress away, and we just grabbed that mattress and threw it down there. And it all ended when someone threw, I think, a basketball up there, and those like fluorescent light long ones that were up there, it hit that and it just shattered, and everyone just scattered right away, and we just all went in here. We're like, all right, that's it, we're done, did property damage, it's time to end it. But yeah, that was one of my favorite things from SLRs.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Do you remember when we did the Nerf night at was it Integrate?
Yeah, that was Integrate. It's a fun time.
We one of the games we played was like the smaller group up on the balcony, and then the bigger group was trying to attack, and I was on the group, the higher up group, and I had this Nerf bow and arrow. So it was off brand, but essentially, really, it was like the arrow was just like a Nerf style tip, and then it had 2 little hooks coming off the side, and so then that was the entire thing. And then you'd hold the back of the arrow, and you'd hook the 2 hooks into these little straps that were right by the handle of the bow, but that had some kind of stretchy rubber material. So you would just pull it back. I'll try and find a picture and send it to Rob. If you're watching on YouTube, we can throw it up there. The mob came running at us, and I just stepped up, stood on the edge of the balcony, and pulled back as far as I could and let loose just into the center of the mob. I didn't know who. I wasn't aiming at anyone specific. I was just like, this is going to hit somebody.
And it did.
And it did. There was this guy, Scott, who...
What Scott?
I don't know the details about Scott, but I know Scott was not all there. But he also had a relatively distinct voice. And so I just let loose, and I just hear, "Ah, my glasses!" And like, I felt so bad, but it was also so funny.
Wow.
Good thing he was wearing eye protection,
Oh my god!
So I just remember he hit someone in the face. I forgot it was Scott. But yeah, that thing
simultaneously
powerful.
So much better and so much worse. Yeah. Like I felt so bad, but it was like if it had, like nobody would have given us a funnier response.
Those are fun. Yeah, I got the idea from. I think it's a common thing now, but my middle school youth group would have Nerf wars. We'd do it, and it was so much fun. I had so many fun memories of that as a kid. Completely forgot about that when we were talking about middle school, but. That was a great night. Mike, what is your number 5?
My number 5, my dad loves this joke, right? I'm sure you've heard him say, Rob, I'm sure you've heard him say this, but he loves being like, hey, man, you're all right. I don't care what so-and-so says.
Yep.
Classic Mike joke. I didn't realize that wasn't a joke that everybody told. And so one day, I think it was like early on in junior year, it was like before the lunch. I don't know how it was for you guys, but like the first couple weeks of lunch, it was like you're trying to figure out where you're going to sit. You try, everybody's moving around, and then eventually it just kind of solidifies. And it's like, if you don't find a group you like before it solidifies, too bad. You're just stuck with the people you're sitting with through the year. And so it was in that early time where we're all kind of feeling it out. And so this one girl from my choir class, so it had to be junior year, ended up at the same table as me. And I turned to her at one point. I said, "Oh man, you're all right. I don't care what Emily says." And just like chuckled, and then like got up and like left for class.
Is it the Emily we know by chance?
No.
Okay.
I just picked it. Honestly, I picked a name. It probably wasn't even Emily. That's probably some kind of thing. But no, we didn't go to school together. But literally the end of senior year, so almost 2 years later, somehow I run into this girl, I think leaving lunch, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I haven't seen you and Emily hanging out in like 2 years. What's going on?" And she was like, "What do you mean, what's going on?" I was like, "What?" And she goes, "You said Emily was talking behind my back." And I was just like, "No, is that not a common joke?" And I don't feel too bad about it because I'm like, look, they couldn't have been that good of friends if me making that joke ended a friendship. But I think it's kind of funny.
So what was the, private school? What was the lunchroom anything like Hollywood? Like you'd have the click stick out.
You didn't have a lunchroom at your place?
Well, we did, but we had 150 people for everyone.
Instead of it being like the cool kids and the jocks and the stoners, it was like the Calvinists and the Arminians. And
the Methodists in one area, The two Catholics were always, doing hand motions and such. But no, I mean, it was just like, there's like the popular kids, the not the medium, middle of the pack, the nerdy people, and then, a few outcasts. It wasn't like, there's cliques, but it wasn't like, your stereotypical cliques.
So I'd say it wasn't exactly like the media portrays it, but the media isn't as far off on the lunchroom as they are on a lot of things in school. So it was the main chunk of the room with just long picnic tables, like the indoor fold-up picnic tables, but essentially picnic tables. And there were probably 7 to 10 of those running the whole stretch of essentially a gymnasium. And then there was a smaller room that had a bunch of round tables at it. And it was kind of a thing that's like juniors and seniors would sit at the round tables, and freshmen and sophomores and juniors and seniors that didn't have any friends would sit at the longer stretched out tables. And there was one day sophomore year where like the entire group that sat at this one table just wasn't there. And it was the one year of high school that me and all my friends had the same lunch period, and we were like, the round tables is open, and we all kind of like, you want to do it? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And so we went and we took this round table, and we were like, all right, this is our table now, we're not giving this up to anybody. And so we got there early, and we all like, we ran and we sat at this table the next day. And this group, it was so funny because we were the nerdiest bunch of white kids you could ever hope to meet. Like, I was cool in that group. I wasn't cool in high school. At least, I know Lou thought I was cool. I was not.
Well, at camp, you were
especially
cool.
not sophomore year.
Well, you should see yourself climbing a tree, bro. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But I mean, we were the kids in like advanced math classes.
Nerds.
Yeah, like we were really nerdy, and it was but we're sitting there and we're like, okay, we're gonna have to hold our ground. Whoever shows up, like we were all expecting to have to like duke it out with a bunch of thugs, and this group of like extremely attractive black girls all roll up to the table and they're like, guys, this is our table. And we were just like, we are happy to share. And they just kind of looked at each other like, no, and walked away. And we're like, worth a shot.
You have to shoot your shot,
They were just like, no, absolutely not. We can't be seen with you.
Lou, what was it like at the jock table? Looking down on all of us lowly peasants.
Unathletic
peasants.
I never sat at the jock table. Also, both of you guys were athletic. Rob, you played football. And Mike, again,
Play is a
climbing
very
trees.
broad statement for what we did. We fielded a
I was
team.
fast and skinny. I don't know
You-
about athletic.
You got to be a little athletic to do some of the reenactments, Rob. I'm not really.
Have you
I'm
seen
not-
some of the people that go there?
Yeah, no, I dated a nerdy girl and I hung out with the nerd group, and that's how I passed high school because I cheated off of all of them. So I was like, yeah, I mean, those are the cooler people to hang out with anyways. So I did hang out with a little bit of the jocks, but I never really considered myself part of that group.
Well, Lou, what's your number
Nerds
5?
were always way more fun. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So my number 5 is the one that I care least about when I think about my high school experience. But my senior year of football was really, really fun. I had a really good time. So if you look at my record of how many wins and losses, I have a lot more losses than wins under my belt playing football. But my senior year, we pretty much had the same group from our freshman year all the way to our senior year. And so naturally we just got good because we played with each other for a long time. But we were known for being the worst team in our conference. And so when our senior year schedule rolled on, people chose the week that we played them to be their, what do you call it?
The homecoming?
Their spirit week?
Yeah, their
Or
spirit
yeah.
week. Yeah, and so I was playing packed games pretty much my whole senior year, and we were winning.
There we go.
No.
And we beat all of them. So it felt like I've had bigger games in high school than I did when I was in college, especially my freshman year of college. The games were huge. They were massive. I mean, it was just so cool to see. And we ended up having a guy on our team that ended up playing for the NFL. So
Whoa.
yeah. And so we were stacked, and we were doing well, and it was just so fun to. I remember playing this a game in Garden City, and every time they did something stupid, they did the Homer Dorf or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That one?
Yeah. Yes. You did it perfectly. Good job. Yep. And they were making so many mistakes that they stopped doing the sound. It was just
Like whenever there was a flag, they would do that?
anytime there was a flag or a fumble, or anytime we sacked them, I think to make lightheartedness of like their mistakes, to like.
I was going to say, I feel like you would do that to the other team and not yourself. You know,
I don't know.
teams have like scoring goals for when they score like at home, but like, the opposing team doesn't, so I don't know. It seems weird to me.
It does seem weird, but it was fun to hear every time we sacked them.
You were only offensive line, right? Did you play any defense?
I played a little defense, but I never had the nose for it. I had no interest in sometimes I would win the battle between the guy, but then I'd be so blind that I would you catch me if you watch film when we play defense, I'd sometimes get past the guy, and then I would just look like an idiot, just looking left and right to find where the ball is.
Where's the quarterback?
yeah. So, so it was never for me.
Mike, if you played football, what position do you think you would have really enjoyed?
Probably kicker.
I'll always yeah.
Really,
I was
long
like
snapping
receiver
is called
and
to me.
running back.
What'd you
I
say?
like the running back and receiver were always the positions I liked playing. I liked showing off. I liked scoring touchdowns, and I was quick and hard to catch. So usually, especially when we play in gym class, it was like, all right, just give me the ball, and I can outplay a bunch of kids in gym class all day long. I probably would not have done well in actual high school football, but
I feel like you got that.
we were fooling around.
You're shifty enough. You could do a RB.
Yeah, I think you have hardcore kicker energy, just very and then I'm not trying to I'm serious. I think you have I don't know, the swagginess.
I wish I'd done that, man. I'd be way more flexible now.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a lot of money as a kicker.
Longevity too.
Very little.
For sure.
Yeah, although those new kicking rules are scary.
I still don't fully understand them, but we'll find out.
I don't either, but I understand that the kicker is way more likely to get hurt now.
That's a different topic for a different time. I think Andrew would be the only one that would be interested in our NFL new kicking rules. I don't even think Lou would be.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, we could talk about baking.
The new baking rules I didn't know about?
I could go.
Baking rules.
Yeah, 375 is the new standard. 350.
Oh no. All right, so my number 4 came from, this would have been my senior year. And I do have one for each of my years. I don't know if I did that on purpose or not, but that's how it ended out.
Ooh, nice.
This was what myself and Lucian said I was reenacting, so his reenacting buddies, they called it a Civil War gasm. There you go.
Look that up, dude.
Don't look it up. So basically,
Are you gonna bleep it out?
no.
Civil War. Beep.
It's just what? Civil War what? Civil War. So my high school was when the 150s were coming out, 150th anniversaries were coming out for the Civil War. And there was a weekend where this would have been 2012. So it was September. It was the anniversary of Antietam, which is the bloodiest single battle in the Civil War. And there was two, like one weekend was one reenactment and one weekend was another one. And they're both in Maryland. One was on the actual battlefield on the anniversary, which was really cool. But somehow, I don't know why my mom let me do this. Shout out to my mom. But she let me take like a whole week off school. So I used up all my sick days to go with like me and 3 other guys. And we just went down there and we did the first reenactment. Heckin' fun. Probably one of my favorite reenactments. We had like a nighttime skirmish in the cornfields, and like the whole morning the Union Army was marching up and like past us because we were the Union picket. And it was so cool because like you hear stories about how like in the battle you could like look up and look at the sun and you would just be able to look at it because all the smoke is there and all that. And that's exactly what happened. The smoke was blotting out the sun so much that you could just look at it, and you know, it was just a really cool experience. And then we'd spend the whole week just driving around, going to different Civil War battle sites and all that, and just really taking in as much history as we can and going. I think it was 22 or 23 different battlefields and locations we went to, and staying at, you know, the cheapest, most sketch hotels down there and everything. Man, it was just awesome to go and be with a bunch of guys and have a great time. And I love history. And then we ended it out on September 17th of 2012, which was exactly 150 years to the day of the battle. And we like marched out there and like went through like some of the guys that were there. And it was a really cool and like, I don't want to say humbling, but it was like an eye-opening experience. Just kind of, it's cool to be there. Like at that moment, like it's 150 is a big number, and really any anniversary would be the same, but 150, it's just a nice round number. And it was really cool and a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
And yeah, like I said, it was dubbed Civil War gasm. It was as funny as Lou thinks. All right, Mike, what's your number 4?
All right. Well, my number 4 also involves putting on a costume. So
it's a uniform, sir.
Let's pretend that let's pretend this podcast is blown up in the future, and that as a listener, you've come back to this episode, because I'm pretty sure everybody who listens to the podcast now understands how this works. But at Bear Lake, the camp we all attended, when you were a camper, you'd get in the line in front of the dining hall, and then the directors of the week would somewhat arbitrarily just decide which cabins got to go up.
Honor cabin.
Like, yeah, honor
whoever
cabin
prayed
go first. But then they'd start sending you up, and like the thing of it was, I was always in Dylan's cabin, and Dylan's parents were the directors, and I was in high school. My memory could be wrong, probably is a little biased, but it felt like we were going last or second to last for every single meal. Like it was like they were so determined not to show their kids favoritism, even though they showed us, we got a lot of other things that we got to do that other cabins didn't get to do. But they were just like, nope, you are eating way at the back all the time. And me and Dylan, and I want to say it was this kid Patrick. Pat was a cool guy. We were fed up. We couldn't take it anymore. And so we went down to the costume shop, and we found the 3 most normal looking dresses and wigs we could find. And we showed up to lunch in dresses and wigs, and we just followed the first girl's cabin up. And we were almost into the dining hall before anyone in the cabin was like, wait a minute, you're 15-year-old boys. And we were like, we've gone last to lunch because of his parents 4 days in a row. And they were like, all right, whatever, you can come with us. So we just ended up eating lunch at the girls' table. And it was a grand old time. It was a lot of fun. And then it turns out that Bob, the director of camp in general, has like a really specific big thing against cross-dressing. And we got a massive talking to afterwards, but totally worth it.
Cross
Yeah, I
dressing is
don't.
not allowed. That's a rule.
It was for a time, I think, but I know there's pictures of when people were like when Bob was first there, and it was supposed to be like a gag that the guy was in a dress, but I don't know. I think it was becoming too culturally a thing, so they're like, all right, we're just gonna have a blanket rule.
Yeah, we didn't know about that rule. We were acting in total ignorance. We were just hungry.
We'll be a girl for food.
We'll say we found out what Mike will do for a Klondike bar. Just I'd always, if I knew there was gonna be a good meal, I'd offer to pray, and then my cabin would always be the second guy's cabin up if we weren't honor cabin. Mike, did you guys try cleaning your cabin? Did you at least try to get honor cabin?
So we never tried to. Well, not never. We never really cared about honor cabin. Mr. B didn't really care if we cared about honor cabin, but there was always like one day of the week he was like, all right guys, we're winning it. Like today we're gonna win honor cabin, and we cleaned the cabin. I think we got it 1 out of 4 years, but like 1 out of 4 when you're actually trying, it's not terrible. It's not up to my standards. When I'm the counselor, we win like 3 out of 5. But that's just because I'm good like that. When I'm a camper though, I do not give a crap. So we were usually very consistently messy. I think it was basically just keep it clean enough that we're not going to get water dumped on our head.
You don't want to be the dishonor cabin.
Yeah, which I think we got a couple times because we were nasty. But
did you guys ever do the videos?
No, I wanted to do one with you, Lou, but we just never did. Could have used it as a promo for this podcast,
Oh, that would have been cool.
Do you ever do one?
I did one. I did a Pokemon theme one, and it was terrible. It was absolute garbage. I think about it to this day. But no, yeah.
You're like trying to sleep at night. You're like, no.
My acting was terrible. Went to acting school.
Yeah, I always thought it'd be fun to do one, but if I did one, it probably would have been not very good. Just never had a good premise.
Yeah, I think you just had to be good looking. And I think people gave you the lyrics.
Well, rip.
I know.
Darn, I should have tried.
All right, Lou, what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is also a senior year. It's skipping my first class.
Ooh.
Yes, and it's not as cool as I think back. I think if I would have saw it now, me doing it, I'd be like, oh, I'm just being kind of a loser about it. Because I didn't skip anywhere other than just the room right next to the principal's office. So, and they knew I was there. So, it's not as cool as I think it is. But because I was hanging out with all the nerds, we all pretty much didn't really have anything to do our senior year. By the time our senior years came, we had like maybe 3 classes. And so after that, you kind of just did whatever. And those 3 classes really didn't care at all anyways. So, yeah, it was just like me and like 4 of my friends playing. We played this game called it's not called paper dodgeball, but it was pretty much like basketball, where we had 2 garbage cans on either side of the room, and we had wheelie chairs, and we had like a crumpled up piece of paper, and we had to like pass it and like dunk it in the garbage can. And
that sounds fun.
A handball on wheels.
Pretty much, yeah. It was awesome. It was so fun. We got in trouble one time because we were being too loud, and yeah, it was just like a really good time that I think about, and just like building my core group of people and keeping them throughout our 4 years, and our senior year being able to just have fun with each other.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you go to the same high school all 4 years?
Yep.
Okay.
So I think I've been to since my kindergarten to 9th grade. I think I've went to 6 different schools.
Dang.
Because Detroit schools kept closing, and so I think that's why it's so special to me, because my senior year, in high school, I got to keep all my friends. It was really it's like sad to make a good group of friends and then leave that school. It just wasn't fun.
Yeah, I never skipped any specific class. I would just fake being sick for the day and skip all of them.
Nice.
How often did you do that? Because I feel like I've heard it before that you've done that.
Probably 5 times a year. I don't know, something like that.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I think our school had policy we could get like 10 sick days a year before you had to like go and make up stuff. So I was always skirting that limit. In my senior year, I couldn't play really sick because I took all that time off to go do a civil orgasm. What? Copy.
Yeah, I thought I never skipped any classes until I turned 18, and then I was like, oh, cool, I can just sign myself out. So I didn't like my 6th hour class. It was a teacher who just like, he didn't have control over the class in general, and it was kind of a blow-off class anyway. So we kind of came to this understanding of like, look, I'd have been happy to learn auto shop stuff, but this is a total mess. Like, it's a disaster. So I'm going to do my best. You're going to give me a B. I'm not going to be here all the time. And we were just kind of cool with it. Like, I would sign out. I'd like write passes and just go to the library. But yeah, I turned 18 and I was like, oh, I can just sign myself out of this class. And it turns out you can't, or at least they wouldn't let you. So I was like, okay, I got to come up with something better. And so the auto shop was right by one of the side doors. And so I would just walk out and walk home. And then on the way home, I would call the school. And it wasn't even like a real person. It would go straight to voicemail, if you were calling to excuse a student. And I'd go, yeah, this is Michael Rice calling to excuse Michael, middle name, Rice, from his 6-hour class. Because technically that's entirely true.
Yeah,
was I
no
leading
lies.
them to believe I was my father? Yes. 100% deceitful. And the funny thing was, I got home around the same time as the bus. Like, I got nothing out of this. I just ended up walking 3 miles because it was better than sitting in shop class talking to Mike, not being able to put up with the guy.
Did you guys only have 6 hours? We had 7 hours at my school.
Yeah, we had 6. I've heard of schools with 7. It seems crazy to me.
Yeah, it's just like 45-minute classes. What do you have, Lou?
Yeah, I had both. I think I had 7 hours in middle school and 6 hours in high school, question mark. My junior, senior year, I had, not VOTEC, but college classes.
AP?
AP. No, I got like college credit.
That's AP.
Yeah.
That's AP? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I had AP classes. How much I didn't pay attention in AP class, but so I don't know.
But
kind of.
you were cheating off some smart nerds.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Shout out to all of them. I'm not gonna name them by names, but except for Barry. Barry did not give a about. He was like, no, Lucian.
Come on, Barry. Help a brother out.
No, I respect it though. Hopefully he's making plans right now.
Think he went the furthest?
He was the smartest out of the group, like by far the smartest out of the group. But yeah, I hope he made. Yeah, I agree. Yes, I think so. You know, or he could get cracked at it.
You never flip the coin sometimes, you know.
Yeah, he flipped the coin.
I had one kid try to cheat off me in 10th grade health class, and he was just like the quintessential big buzzed head, just kind of looked kind of dumb, was like kind of a jerk. And he rolled up to me. We were doing a worksheet, and he goes, hey, what you got for 7? I was like, C, man. And he just like wrote on a piece of paper C and just moved on to the next person and started asking him things. And I'm sitting there chuckling. Someone leans over, they're like, what's so funny? I was like, 7's not even a multiple choice question.
True or false?
He just wrote
No,
down.
it was like you had to write out an answer. And he just wrote C and turned it in.
So my number 3 is a camp memory, and it was going into my sophomore year. So Lou and I went to high school 2009 to 2013. Mike was 1 year before us, 2008 the 2012. But in 2010, it was my first chance at junior staffing at Bear Lake. And I will always remember, because like I went there growing up, basically my whole life, went there as a kid, and junior staffing is the high school volunteers, but you have to be 14. And my problem was I have a late birthday, so I was getting the junior staffing a year after all my other friends, have already gone and did junior staffing. So I was like hearing all these cool stories about the farmhouse and all that. It was I don't really know. It felt like super cool to actually get like my first staff shirt and be like, yeah, this one's mine. It was the out of this world one. Pretty good staff shirt in my opinion. Nice blue and everything.
The green one?
No,
blue,
that was
yeah,
face to face. That would have been the next year. And it was like, yes, I'm finally can give back to this camp, and it was just such a cool feeling. I'm like, I hope the world doesn't end by tomorrow, because I want to pack up. I want to deliver these luggages to the right cabins and all that. Like, I was just super stoked for it, and it was on my bucket list. Back then was the junior staff, and I ended up doing a day camp, which is not a bad gig for a junior staffer.
No, it's super chill, actually.
Yeah.
I've heard people that hate it, and I heard people that love it.
I didn't mind it. I mean,
Dude, it's so easy. There's nothing like really fulfilling about it. because it's like 6-year-olds. So there's kind of a limit on like how much life change you can see, but
Yeah.
it's like also like it was just the one time I did it was me and Jason. We were just like, don't eat that, stop. All right, go this way, and then me and him just hung out for the week. So
Yeah, I really liked, especially if you got the older kids. Like, it was super easy. Mike, how many times did you do junior staff? How many years?
so I let's see. So I did junior staff when I was a second year, third year, fourth year, and a fifth year. So 4 years, I guess. I didn't know it was called CIT back when we did it. I didn't know you could go to CIT as an 8th grader. I probably would have tried. I did 4 years, loved it, super good. My number 3 is also about junior counseling, so I don't want to say too much. It is something distinctly different from what you said, but yeah, it was a good time, man. And I mostly counseled. I loved counseling so much.
Lou, you didn't junior staff, correct?
I did not. No.
What was your outlook on the junior staff when you were senior staffing? Because a lot of senior staffers started as junior staff, but like, what did you think of the junior staff?
I loved the junior staff. I loved everyone's that I worked with. I absolutely loved.
I was gonna say that I know exactly how Lucian's gonna answer that question, and he said it verbatim. I feel pretty good about myself.
I don't know how I feel about that. Am I that easy to read? No.
No, I'm positive that you've already said you loved hanging out with the junior staffers when you were camping. So like, I was like, no, he's said this on pod, I'm pretty sure, but it was an old pod, so
I don't know.
Also, you just love the younger generation. You love like mentoring like that. So it'd be like, Mike, how did you feel about sarcasm in your freshman year?
He hated it.
It's like, yeah, we all know how that's gonna play out.
Well, Mike, what's your number 3?
My number 3 was sneaking out after junior counselor appreciation night. It wasn't meant to be a tradition, but it became one. Where the first night, we did junior counselor appreciation night. It was my first year. I didn't even know it was a thing. I was like, this is awesome. And I was walking back. It was me, and I want to say Jason. And then this kid, I think his name was Jacob. He was a year younger than me, not my cousin. And then a couple of the junior staff girls, and we just we weren't even trying to sneak out. We just ended up stopping on the walk and having a really awesome conversation. And then we were like, oh crap, we've been doing this for 2 hours. We got to get back. But then it just became a thing where it was every year it would be okay, what's the little group of 4? We're just going to go hang out. And it was never ooh, we're going to go sneak out and make out. It was always no, I know the best conversation I have this week is going to be at 1 a.m. in a random field with 3 other junior counselors, and it always was. And the highlight, it was either sophomore or junior year, but it was myself, Jason. He's getting commented on. I'm bringing him up a lot this pod.
Saying his last name too, giving me more work.
Yep. Get ready. There's 2 more. Jen and Christina, one of the older sisters.
Thor.
I never met Christina.
She was really cool. The 4 of us hung out at out by Craft Barn, and we just chilled in that field for hours, and we're just talking and talking and talking. And I don't remember a word that was said, but I remember just being that was really good. Honestly, that probably should have been the number 1 thing on my list. It was just a great night. I remember having the biggest crush on Christina after that for the rest of the week, and I'm positive she was either a year older or 2 years older than me, and was just did not pay any attention to me. It was good times.
Those are always the best at camp.
So when I started senior counseling, I'd tell my campers, I was like, man, I don't know if you are thinking about sneaking out after or not. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I recommend coming back in through the window. And if you get caught, I had nothing to do with it. I'm not.
You're junior counselor, right? You said?
Yeah. I would tell my junior counselor, go for it.
You said campers, so I wanted to clarify.
Sorry. Junior counselor. But I was like, look, I just need you to know, though, I'm going to work you just as hard tomorrow, whether you stay out or not. You're not getting any breaks for this. And again, if you get caught, I'm denying this conversation ever happened.
Shout out Caleb.
Yeah, that was, dude, the realest. He got busted with a girl I would end up dating because I was a freshman. I was going into my freshman year of college, and she was a junior. So I was really only a year and a half older than her. And we ended up dating we started dating in the fall. But yeah, they all snuck out. They got busted. They got chewed out by Bob, bad. And that dude didn't he didn't say a word. He He's a real one.
I only got to do one counselor's night out because I just didn't counsel for the longest time, and I was sad when they took it away because the one time I did it, it was great. It was the senior counselor night out, but yeah.
We snuck out after that one too, and because like they were like, "Hey guys, please don't stay out too late," and so we were like, "Oh yeah, sure. We're adults. We can do whatever we want. Like we're gonna stay out." I think though at that point we were like, we're the senior staffers. We have our cell phones.
Yeah.
We can all just go back to our cabin and then be like, okay, they left. We can go back out and just hang out at a picnic table.
Lou, was your first year, was that the first year of the Snort Shop? The new Bears Cove? Can't remember.
I can't remember either, to be honest.
No. It would have been my first year, because remember my first year we pulled me, Dave, Josh, and one other guy. We tied a rope around the old snack shop and pulled it down just with the muscle. So that would have been the second year.
That's fun.
There's a video of
Josh,
it somewhere.
Josh,
Yeah.
nice.
I love Josh.
Great dude.
Josh was the best.
Well, Lou, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is very similar to Mike's. It's my two best friends, talking to my two best friends in the locker room that smelled like piss. I think in your senior, not your senior year, but in high school, I feel like your brain unlocked, like you get to the next level and you start looking more, you start thinking more 3D. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just not black and white anymore. It's like this, especially when it comes to like the relationships and different views on things. And I hope that everybody gets to experience that in high school, to have these deep, thoughtful conversations with your peers. And it just so happens that me and my two best friends would do it in a locker room that always smelled like pee. And it was a great time. We both played football together. We both we both ran track. Well, I didn't run. I threw shot.
Amen. The real man's sport.
Yeah, after practice and after getting dressed, just talking, man. You know, just about everything and anything. And I think about those times and I cherish them. It kind of shaped. It's cheesy to say it shaped me to who I am today, but I think it taught me a little bit how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you ever talked to a high schooler. It sounds like
idiots.
Sounds like they're still learning how to speak.
My number 2, I talked about it a couple weeks ago on the video game series. It just has to be 11/11/11. For someone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, November 11th, 2011 was the day that Skyrim came out. Obviously, that's an opinion. Me and my friends were huge Elder Scrolls fans. Most of us, I think all of us played Oblivion, and then most of us have played Morrowind to some extent. And at the time, it was like, oh man, it's been 5 years since we've had the last Elder Scrolls. Now it's been 13 years, but anyways, who's counting? I had my mom go to the store. We got like energy drinks and all that, filled up the cooler with ice. I had, I think, 4 TVs down there. Everyone brought their Xboxes. It was a 360 at the time. We'd all hook them up. And then we went to GameStop for the midnight release. And it was just, midnight releases were so much fun back in the day, especially for the most part, you didn't have to, I was a kid. So if I stayed up late, I could just like sleep during first hour or something. But shout out to my mom who would go take me to the midnight releases and just go sit at the Rams Horn right across, right neighboring the GameStop. But it was so much fun. We got the game, went back, and we just all had fun. You all start in the same place, but then if you know Skyrim, as soon as you get out like the little tutorial area, it branches out, so we'd all be like getting different paths and shouting like, oh guys, look what I found if you go here. And it was just such a fun time. And it's like kind of Lou, where we would have these all-nighters, so we'd go and just hang out in my mom's basement, and like during those times it'd be such a good time, because yeah, we were playing video games, but we were also having like good and meaningful conversations. And I just look back, those are some of my fondest memories, and that one's the tippity top of them, because we were just all nerding out and nerded all over the floor and everything like that. And it was just such a good time. And yeah, it's probably one of my favorite high school memories, one of them. So do you guys ever do any midnight releases?
I did the midnight release for Dark Souls 2, and that soured me on the concept for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I remember like Call of Duty midnight releases used to be the crap. Like there'd be like the Red Bull people that have like the can on the car would come and give out like free samples. You get a bunch of things. They had like a DJ one year. It was popping at the Westland GameStop for those Call of Duty releases, and it was like the line was out the window. And so it was November. You'd have to be like dressed up in winter, and like pray you got a side of the wall so the wind wasn't blowing on you. But yeah, that was the jam back in the day. Then I go home, and since I had school the next day, I got to play for like 15 minutes. But hey, that's more than the other people the next day at school got to play.
I never
played.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Missed out, Lou.
No, it's just not true. Not for me. It doesn't seem fun to me. I'm very grateful that I can buy games online now.
Yeah, it's not really a thing anymore. Oh, another thing with that is I saved up like all my birthday money and got the collector's edition, which back then I think was like $110, which is like the plus edition now. It's not even the collector's edition now, but it's a whole different conversation. But they gave us like the game like 20 minutes before everyone else, so I said, "See you guys, I'll see you at my house." I just ditched them and went. And they all understood, you know. We all had fun unboxing it and everything. But yeah, great time. Still have the box and all the figure, not the minifigure, but the figure that came with it and the art book. Worth every penny. Mike, what was the Dark Souls 2 midnight release like? Like you just got your receipt, showed it to the GameStop employee, and left?
Pretty much, yeah. I was sick. I was supposed to be cooking at Mongolian Barbecue, and I was looking so rough. They sent me home early, and I literally just like. It wasn't even like a midnight release. It was pre-midnight. So I basically went home, changed, bundled up, and then I was longboarding everywhere at the time. So I longboarded home, longboarded past work. I don't know if anybody saw me or not. And then, waited in the parking lot. And then I got the game. And I think they were selling Red Bull. So I bought a 4-pack of Red Bull. And I played the game for about 23 hours out of like a 26-hour span. Somewhere in the middle. One of my coworkers was like, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk in the woods and get high?" And I was like, "I don't think I like weed, but I'll go on a walk with you."
I don't think that.
I'd only tried it a couple times and I didn't enjoy it.
The hippie chick.
No, different chick. Although she was a hippie chick. But yes, that girl.
I'm tarnished. I can't get high. I gotta save the world. Ring the bells.
Yeah.
Restart the cycle of fire in the kiln and everything.
Yeah, I will say I found that failed attempt to get high in the woods still to be way more fun than Dark Souls 2. So,
I mean, your eyes are already bloodshot from playing 23 hours out of 26, yeah. So no one could tell anyways.
Well, I think that was around like hour 13. And like I came back and kept playing.
I'd like to play it again to see how bad it is again.
Okay, we should all get it on the computer. Should all get it on the computer and we can all play together. Maybe it's better with 3 people.
Ooh. That'd be fun.
Do a let's play. I have it, so it's probably on sale right now. Mike, that was the Dark Souls story that messed me up. What's your number 2, Mike?
My number 2 was an event at a little church in Westland across from the Lowe's, right next to the Meijer.
Hey, that's where my mom goes to church now.
The church? Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. They had an
by
event
the Culvers,
right after...
Culvers, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. They had an event there. I don't know if they still do it or not. They would do it right after the homecoming game for John Glenn, called the 5th quarter, where after homecoming they basically just did a concert. It was easily, of the 3 concerts my high school band played, by far the best show we did. There was an actually good crowd, and we had a bunch of new material, and it was a total blast. It was a really good time, lots of fun. Definitely one of the only times that I really felt like a rock star when we were doing the whole band thing. Yeah, really good memories. And then the Good Luck Varsity was the headliner, and they killed it. And they played a bunch of old songs that they had kind of pulled out of their repertoire, and then they kind of revamped them and put them back in. And so it was fun and nostalgic for me there too. It was a good time all around.
Never got into Good Luck Varsity. I know they were big for like the local scene, especially like the Christian rock, but it's more of a Dry Leaf Project fan myself, but just different.
Which is funny because they're very different, but they were friends with each other.
Well, so Evan, the lead singer of Good Luck Varsity, was brothers with Jordan.
Yep.
I think he was a keyboardist, but yeah, they were in the band. They were both in each band. I think Jordan actually played a little bit for Good Luck Varsity, like filled in, but yeah.
Yeah, he was he was early on. They actually had a song. It was really cool. They had this song. I don't remember what the original song was called, but they ended up basically rewriting their own song after Jordan left, and it was called Brother. And so it used all the same like chord progression, the same melodies, the same harmonies and stuff. And so it was this callback to this song that they had wrote about something totally different, and now it was about how like Jordan's going off to like have a family, and Evan's going off to, chase the music thing. Mm-hmm. And I really liked that song. I thought it was one of their more underrated hits, or not hits rather, but one of their more underrated tunes.
This is Robin Post. Just want to say I misspoke that Jordan was actually not part of the Dry Leaf Project, so that's my bad. I was thinking of someone else, Rich He's another great guy. But yeah, if you're interested in them, go check them out. I think they're on YouTube Music at least, and probably Spotify and wherever else you find your music. Go ahead and check out the Dry Leaf Project and Good Luck Varsity, and then we got another band that we're about to talk about. If you want to check it out, Evan's doing American Arson, I think is his project. He's been doing it for a long time. Once he stepped away from Good Luck Varsity.
It's much heavier. The first couple albums or EPs I enjoyed. He seems to be having success with it. He's already put out way more music than Good Luck Varsity ever did. But it's much heavier and not really as much. I liked the balance they struck because I thought Good Luck Varsity sucked after he left, but I wasn't as big of an American Arson fan as I was a Good Luck Varsity fan either. So I thought whatever was going on, the tension in that group just kind of, I thought they kept bringing out the best in each other and balancing each other out. And yeah, I think Evan brought the lyrics that I liked, and Good Luck Varsity brought the sound I liked, and yeah, so.
Yeah, and shout out to the band Bridge May Be Icy. It's,
yeah, that too.
Have you actually heard of them?
No.
Yeah, they were, I think, probably my junior year. I had some friends from my school that started a band. It was pretty. They tried to go hardcore, but I was pushing from so hard because they would let me use their music in my YouTube videos. So I'm like, yeah, let's go, Bridge May Be Icy. Let's get them big. Hoping to leech off their success. Lou, what is your number 2?
Number 2 is something that I'm a little hesitant about because it's kind of weird. But when I think of my high school experiences, it'd be weird not to bring it up. But falling in love is my number 2. Having my first girlfriend. Yeah. It ended up being, so this is before it got weird and it got selfish and I guess quote unquote sinful. But before that, like when it was innocent and we were just really just getting to know each other and just knowing that there was somebody out there that like had feelings for you, I guess, was so cool. It was just, yeah.
Ain't nothing like that first time. She was in my math class.
Shout out to J. Cole.
Okay.
I was
like, he's quoting something.
I wasn't.
It's just a really good time. And, you know, I pictured... So the reason why I did the things I did in high school is because growing up, I would watch these TV shows and about high school, like Ned's Declassified, School Survival Guide, like these kind of things. Oh no, that was middle school.
Yeah.
But still, I know what you're talking about. It throws off your expectation wildly.
Nothing like it.
It's insane. It's nothing like it. Like I thought once I got on the football team, this is it. I don't have to do any more.
Life is made.
I don't have to go. Life is made. I don't have to go to classes. Teachers are gonna give me A's.
That's college, Lou.
Hey, didn't happen either. I failed a couple classes. Never worked. I can't believe I kept going with it. But you know, I've always hesitant on when I'm thinking about if I'm blessed to have kids, what age I want my kids to date, and how I want to treat dating. But yeah, I recommend Falling in Love. It's a good time.
Maybe not in high school, for my 2 cents, but you know. It is a good time.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, if you're comfortable with staying on pod, I think about that all the time, man. I got 7 to 9 years before I have to actually have an answer for that. And it's terrifying. I just hope my kid ends up more like me than, or ends up more like Becca than like me.
I was like, I've never heard it the other way around, but. Shoot your shot.
No. Becca did such a good job with dating. I did a terrible job with dating.
Is it? I mean, I don't know. Dating guy named.
So Becca and I started dating, and Lou was like my. He's like, all right, we're gonna take Becca out for lunch, and I'm gonna grill her with questions. He was like the dad in the situation, like if I was a woman, and that was like the first thing. He's like, have you had an ex? It's like, yeah, his name was X. He's like, you dated a guy named? It's just like very first thing.
It wasn't so much that I didn't have an issue with him because his name was. I had an issue with him because he was Catholic. I'm kidding.
So I'm like, what age do you think, or is it? Do you think it's a case by case basis, Mr. 7 to 9 years? What's your thoughts right now,
dude? I don't know. No, my dad. For me, at least, I don't know. I imagine he did something similar. For me, he said, "All right, if you want to date, you have to be able to come answer these questions." And he was like, "What are your boundaries? What are your physical boundaries? And basically, it was like, what is the purpose of dating, and what are your physical boundaries? Like, you just had to answer those 2 questions." And so I wanted to date this girl, and the thing of it was that I didn't. I think those are really great questions. I think once you can answer those questions, you should be able to consider dating, as if you can control that as a parent. But the thing of it was like all I knew was that like I had this attraction and like butterfly puppy love thing that you feel. It's all just hormones, you know.
Right.
So I was like, I didn't know. I was just like, I just know I want to be near this person and spend time with this person and become be friends with them and get to know them really well. And like, I had this understanding that I think realistically emotional intimacy is the term I didn't understand. You know, where I was like, there's something different that you share with someone you're dating than you do with your friends. And I didn't know how to put that into words.
You don't kiss your friends?
No, but it's not even that, because like legitimately I would
I'll kiss my friends.
Lou, I'd give you a kiss goodnight if I
coming away from some camp thing and ingrained enough in church culture and purity culture that even though like I wanted to do stuff, I still was like, there was some level of like, no, I want to like have a God honoring relationship, even though I didn't like. I don't know. I could probably spend hours. I could get Dylan or Lucas on here and just unpack what it's like to try and be a pastor's kid. But I at least thought on some level I wanted to have like a very God honoring relationship, and I just knew that I wanted emotional intimacy, but I didn't know how to put that into terms. And so I answered my dad's questions, and he was like, okay, answer me this though. Why can't you guys just be friends and do that? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, all right, well, date her, I guess. And I was like, I thought for sure he was going to say no. I think he was smart enough to know that you can't really stop people from dating. But yeah, I think if you can actually be honest with yourself and answer those questions, you're probably in a decent spot to date. Also, I don't think anyone should date in high school. There was a camp counselor. He wasn't even our camp counselor. And he was like, listen, you guys are in like he compared dating to like boats. And he was like, you guys have life rafts, right? You don't have jobs, you don't have careers, you don't have a house, you don't have anything to offer these girls. You shouldn't be dating. And at the time I was like, I will love her so much and I'll be her knight in shining armor. I have a horse. I don't need a boat.
I got this TikTok.
He wrote a song about it. He was so mad.
No, I didn't write music yet. But like, yeah, like I think that's really valid. I think that courtship is a better idea than dating, but that's there's a lot of things that are really hard to sell to somebody who's not actually committed to following Jesus, and I was not. And it's funny once you start how all of a sudden those stupid, annoying, cheesy things people say are like, it really is pearls before swine, you know? Where it's like at the time I was like, that's dumb, and now I'm like, oh, that was brilliant. I wish I'd listened to that. The long answer is I have no idea how I'm gonna handle.
That's fair. Lou, I'm guessing just by what you've said in the podcast, your parents didn't have like a set age.
No, I think they were like as early as I could get a girlfriend. I really treated dating, thinking about it, I really treated dating like a sport. Like it was like an achievement that I had to get. Like I wouldn't be whole until I had a girlfriend.
I literally kept stats because that's how my brain works.
Oh my goodness.
Like how?
Like once I was in like my early 20s and I started dating like a lot, like I literally would like keep track of the like, okay, I dated this many people in this short of a time, and like, and like it's not like it wasn't even like, oh, I'm some like, I mean there was a lot of like just like unhealthiness, but it literally was just that my brain runs analytics so naturally that I would just start like keeping track of things, and I don't, wouldn't do that now, but my brain just works that way, and because I also treated it like a sport, I had to know my stats.
Yeah, I was gonna say treat it like a sport, but I didn't want to get canceled just in case.
No, I think that's actually a really normal thing for guys. When you don't understand you don't understand what you're actually looking for, and there's all this confusion with sexuality versus intimacy, and I think it's natural for it to become kind of this predatory feels wrong because of the connotation that comes along with the term predatory, but it does become this thing where it's like I'm on the hunt, People talk about guys being out on the prowl. Like that's a real, like that's a term. That's the thing people describe it as. And
right.
I was gonna say it's as Bob would say, if you want it hard enough, you'll find it in the worst way.
He would
Bobism.
say, he who wants a wife in the worst way usually finds it.
Gotta find it. Gotta find one. I gotta find one. Yeah.
I didn't understand what wants it in the worst way meant at the time, so I was like, okay. But once I heard that phrase in a different context and was like able to put it together, I was like, oh, that was brilliant.
What were you gonna say, Lou?
So yeah, I was raised very secular, and I think the media that I was taking in, and my dad was a rock star when I was younger, and he would talk about like his sexual endeavors and
Jason.
how he was good at certain things, and I think I treated it like a sport. Like I needed to show my dad that I could do the things that he did. When I put this on my list, I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about like just getting to know the girl. That's the part that is one of my favorite parts. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah. No, I got you. Okay. It has definitely spiraled into something else, but
the young love, you like that?
Yeah, having a crush was one of the best parts of high school. At least it felt like it at the time.
See, I didn't have an age on mine, but I think my mom just knew. She's like, that guy's not getting a girlfriend anytime soon. So she wasn't wrong.
Hey, who's winning now? Look at us. Look at us now.
Hey, look at us. Paul Rudd. My number one is not a unique experience to high schoolers in general, but is a unique experience to the three of us on this podcast. And it's kind of a broad thing, but my junior year, when I got my 2001 Pontiac Grand Am GT, oh boy, that opened up the doors for me. I could leave the house when I wanted. I didn't have to, wait for my mom to get off her 12-hour shifts to come pick me up. The world was ahead of me, and it was looking bright, and it was just getting a car, especially as a high schooler. It's just a game changer, and it's like where you start to get your sense of freedom, and then that's like where I'd be blasting my music and probably have hearing damage from it now, but like I'd start listening, really listening to my own music, because I could just blast it, and it didn't matter what my mom would think or anything, and it was just, obviously it was a game changer, and I think that and everything that came along with that was a clear number one to me.
Yeah, that's fair. I never got that.
Me neither.
So I said it's unique for this pod. For all you listeners down there, let us know what your first car was in the description. Was it as cool as my 2001 Pontiac Grand Am, which Lucas later told me is like the white trash car, but to me it was beautiful. It can go about 102 miles an hour before it would stop.
Oh man. Listen, Mr. Tan minivan, don't go talking about cars, all right?
I had the Legend of Zelda decal on it, and I was the coolest kid ever. Not really, but I could drive my own. I could drive people places. How long did I have it? My mom bought it. Yeah. I think my mom bought it just before I did driver's ed, because it was like my mechanic's friend. They were selling it to I think pay for a plumber, so it was like dirt cheap. So I think we'll just say 2009, and then probably 2016 sold it to a family member.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I started driving the Dakota like 2014, 2015, and
that's what I remember.
Yeah, and I do kind of miss the car. Like I've driven trucks ever since, and trucks are nice, especially in the areas where you get a lot of snow. But there's just something nice about a car. It gets a little more get up and go than a F-150 or a Dodge Ram.
Yeah, a little more acceleration is kind of nice sometimes. Yeah, it's my Mario Kart pick all the time. I like the light cars. This is the only automobile I know how to discuss.
Oh my gosh, I knew exactly. I thought you were gonna go Crash Bandicoot racing, but I love it.
Same thing though, exact same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even after high school, I'd drive Lou around in it and all that. So when it was my camp, the car I took to camp and everything. A lot of good memories.
Good times.
And one thing I loved about the car, sorry, I'm just going to go out there. It had like a full mixing sound thing. So you could the range from highs to lows to mids. They had it's almost like a soundboard. There's a specific name for it, but so you could adjust it all the way. So of course, wanted to be cool, I just had the bass side turned all the way up and all the other ones in the middle.
Right.
But I love that part of the car, and I wish more cars had that. But it's definitely not a feature you need, and they're probably like, why would we spend money on this? But I loved it. And I had the cassette MP3 player, you put it in there, hooked up my iPod, and yeah, it was going.
Oh, that I do miss those. I mean, not really, they were awful, but
Yeah, then you hit a
There was
bump
a
and
vibe.
you'd get disconnected for a little bit.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Lou, are you still driving your first car?
I am currently still driving my first car. I think this is gonna be.
Whoa.
I think I'm gonna be buying a car in the fall. I think that is the plan. I'm saving up for it.
Nice.
I don't think my car can handle another winter.
Mike, what is your number one?
My number one is so simple, man. We used to play this game at Bear Lake all the time. I was usually the instigator, although your cousin, Mitchell, got pretty into it too, and he would instigate it a lot as well. And it was just playing Man on Sand out at the Playscape.
Grounders.
Grounders is another common name for it. There was a while we used to play it when Life Church was still being held at schools. There was this point where me and Dylan wanted to play, and we were like, hey, let's go play Man on Sand. And everyone was like, no, it's for babies. And we were like, okay, have you heard of Ninja Tag? And everyone was like, ooh, no, what's Ninja Tag? It was freaking Man on Sand. We just added, we were just like, it's called Ninja Tag. Basically, if you don't know, it's like tag, except when the person who's it comes onto the playscape, they have to close their eyes. But they can also call Man on Sand, which kind of functions like fish out of water in Marco Polo. And so if you're not on the playscape, if you're on the ground, essentially, if you're the Man on Sand, and they call Man on Sand, you are immediately tagged, essentially, and you become it. And so it's like, on a wooden play structure where you can kind of climb over the edges and like you can do all this crazy stuff. And if you fall, you just land on sand. So it's really not that bad. It was really fun. And there were metas. And then this didn't actually happen in high school, but the year after high school, I was counseling. I found this long rope out in the field, and I just like wrapped it around my chest and just wore this rope everywhere I went. And then the next week was youth week, which is the college age week, and we were playing Man on Sand, and I put two like loops. I basically made a double-sided noose, and I wrapped one side around.
Get real close here.
Yeah, I like put one on I just put them on two different pegs on either side of the playscape because it was just a big square. And when they'd get too close, I just shimmy out like a cat and just hang in the middle. Yeah, man, it was simple. It was fun. It was just good, clean fun, and made a lot of friends doing that.
What was the meta for Grounders? What's the build? What should I respec as?
It changed a lot. It depended on there were a couple different things. There were the people who just worked really hard to stay as far away. You'd stay in a safe spot where you couldn't be reached from the ground, and then when they'd come onto the platform, you just constantly stay far away. There were the people who tried hiding spots where it's like, I'm going to get somewhere you'd never reach or think to look with your eyes closed. My thing was always like, stay on the inside. When they climb up into the playground, you then hop onto the outside and start maneuvering on the outside of the playscape and be willing to jump. And so I was almost always convinced that I could push off, turn in the air, and catch something at some point on the way down. And so, that was always my favorite way to play, was just like crazy pseudo parkour. Yeah, man, that was fun. I'd do that in a heartbeat. If we were all there right now, I'd be like, let's play.
Oh, geez. I don't know if I got the stamina for that anymore.
I'd do it.
Especially on the sand.
Like,
Winded.
call an ambulance. But
Be winded halfway around the play structure. Well, the thing is, Mike will also scale places, so it'd be me targeting Lou and vice versa.
Yeah, I would climb just about anything. I don't climb as much anymore, but I've been eating pretty healthy this last month, so I think I've dropped some weight. I think I could probably maybe not do as much as I used to, but I could get somewhat close.
Which play structure is better, wooden or metal?
It depends on the play structure. There's metal structures that are better than wooden structures, and then there's wooden structures that are better than some metal structures.
In general, you didn't have a preference for Grounders?
Not really. It was more about the layout, size. You wanted a medium-sized playscape, or size depending on how many people. Really, there was a point where the game, like, if it got too big, it wasn't fun because you could all just spread out, and the person could never find you. If you had too many people in the playground, then it stopped being fun because it just like bottlenecked, and all they had to do was run towards the sound and they'd tag somebody. So it was more about having the right number of people and a playscape that had multiple routes and was somewhat climbable, which is kind of the core idea of a playscape. So we usually had what we needed.
Lou, why don't you wrap us up and let us know what your number one is?
all right, my number one is very simple. If you know me at all, I think I've already shared this.
Cooking?
But I have to. No, I actually didn't start cooking until really college. It's Cry Night, junior year, when I gave my life to Christ. So good. There's been a lot of controversy on Cry Night, and we even talked about it in the podcast quite thoroughly, actually. Yeah, I won't repeat the story, but I think just bawling out in front of the person that I absolutely thought I was going to be my wife, because I thought that with every girl that would talk to me, um, and crying and knowing that there was never a chance to date her again, and then walking outside and looking at the Big Dipper and thinking, oh, there is a God that loves me. That's pretty cool. It's good. Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat that, man. And I still, sometimes I get to see the Big Dipper when it's hard. Sometimes I try to look for the Big Dipper, and all the light pollution, it's hard. But sometimes you can see a little bit.
Hey, come out here. We can see it every night.
Yeah. You guys have it over there too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you remember what because they always tried to make it a little different. Do you remember like what the big stations were that year?
The station that got me is, I remember, I think she was a lady in my group, because you had to do like teams, and there was a lady in the team that was really struggling with something. I don't remember what it was, and she shared it with the group, and she said pray for it, and I'm like, I'm not praying for this stupid thing. And it's just like, this is stupid. And then I remember there was a station where you wrote down your prayer, and you take a prayer and you pray for that thing, and you put your prayer in. And I wrote down something, and I took the prayer, and it was that prayer, and that's what really got me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I remember like something with a cross, something with water. Yeah, I actually don't remember.
So, Mike, what are we talking about next week?
All right, we're gonna go a little weird, but I want to know the top 5 ways that you would prefer to die.
What? Becca, that was a joke. Becca, it's okay. Just put the suitcase away. Put
And we can't. I'm assuming we can't choose just dying or bed, right?
That's number.
Oh yeah, dying peacefully in your sleep is off limits.
Okay, cool.
Pretty much anything else is fair game.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what your favorite memories of high school were. Also, I don't know where I'm going with this. Your death thing just threw me off.
What was your first car?
What was your first car? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment, read it out on the podcast. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you in the next one where we find out how we're going to die. I mean, how we want to die. What? See ya.